I let Claude run my marketing reporting for a month. And here's what happened. Every month you rebuild the same marketing report. You pull the numbers and stitch them into a story nobody fully reads. That's a full day gone on work you already know the shape of. The grind isn't a you problem, it's the one marketing job nobody ever bothered to redesign. So I handed the whole thing to Claude for 30 days and I watched where it held and where it broke. The place it broke is this whole video. Now, 20 years I've been running marketing inside Fortune 500 teams. I built more of those monthly readouts than I care to actually count. So let me be precise about what run my reporting means, because it's not just one report. It's actually a cadence. Every month the same 4 jobs come due. Pull the numbers out of every place they live, meaning the ad platforms, the automation tool, the CRM, and the analytics dashboard. Turn those numbers into a story, what moved and why. Flag the things that need somebody to actually do something about. And draft the readout that the leadership team actually wants to see. That's 4 jobs. And one of those is actually judgment. The other 3 are mechanical, and I've done all 4 by hand for years. Then I gave all 4 to Claude for a month. And here's the one thing you can act on today. Before you build anything, stop hand pulling your numbers. The data pool is pure time and zero judgment. You're not deciding anything when you copy a click-through rate from one tab into the spreadsheet into another. You're simply just transcribing data, and any junior analyst can do that. The first thing you need to hand over, because the downside is almost nothing and the time back is for real. If you do one thing after this video, it's that everything past here is what gets interesting and where it can get dangerous. So, ran it for 30 days. 4 jobs every week, then the full monthly roll-up report. Let me walk you through the way it actually went, because the wins and the failures were not where I actually expected them to be. Job 1 is the pull. This is where it actually earned its keep. I pointed Claude at the numbers and asked for the month assembled in one place. I mean, every channel, every metric, the same structure as last month, so I could compare and contrast like for like. What used to be a morning of tab hopping and copy and pasting came back in minutes, and this is the part that mattered, with no handmade transcription errors. When you move 40 numbers by hand, 2 of them are wrong, and you're gonna find out at the meeting. Claude didn't fumble a single one. Now, here's the what's in it for you. The most error-prone, least valuable hours in your month, gone. Not sped up, gone. And you start the actual thinking from a clean, correct sheet instead of one you only have trust. That's the forward raised on everything after it, and it held all month. So, push a little bit harder. Job 2 is the synthesis. This is where the first crack showed. Numbers don't mean anything until someone says what changed and why. So I asked Claude for the narrative, meaning what moved this month and what drove it. The what was flawless. Spotted everything, all the shifts, ranked them very orderly, very professionally. Then it told me why, and it was major confident, plausible, but sometimes, completely wrong. And that's the trap. It saw demo requests jump, and it explained it with a campaign that had actually ended a few weeks earlier. It connected 2 lines on a chart that had absolutely nothing to do with each other, and decided to write it like it was a fact. And that's the difference between what and why. The what is in the data. The why, that still is in your head. The pricing page changed. Sales ran a push. Last month was a holiday. Claude is pattern matching with no memory of the room. And here's the what's in it for you and why you should care. Here's why it's the one load bearing. The narrative is the only part of the report executives actually care about and actually trust. Hand them a confident wrong why once, and every number you ever show them after that has gonna have an asterisk beside it. The synthesis is exactly half of Claude's job and still half yours. It drafts the what, you supply the why. Never do this the other way around. Job 3, the flag. And this is the one that surprised me. I asked Claude to tell me what needed action, meaning what's drifting, what's off, what somebody has to deal with. And it caught something I would have missed. A conversion metric had been sliding a little every week, never enough to really raise a major alarm bell in any single week, but 4 weeks stacked up into a real problem. Buried in a bunch of numbers that I walked past, Claude didn't. but kind of here's where it broke. It flagged everything at the same volume. That metric, quietly bleeding real pipeline and a rounding error on the newsletter open rate, came back with the exact same urgency. It has no idea which number your business actually cares about or runs on. It can find the signal, it just can't weigh it. So here's what's in it for you. Claude is a second set of eyes that never gets tired and never skims. This is generally useful for a senior operator consuming the dashboard so many times that you actually stop seeing it. But the triage, that stays with you. That's yours. Claude can hand you 10 flags. You're the one who knows which one's on fire and which one's just a little flicker. And that's not a downgrade, that's your job. Now, job 4 is the readout. And this is where it broke the worst, but quietly is the most useful one. Okay, last one here is drafting the thing that leadership actually sees. Structurally, Claude could do it clean, organized, and on format with nothing out of place. And it was wrong for the room in a way that would have embarrassed me. It reported everything, every move, every metric, every movement, all of it evenly. But a readout is not a data dump. It's quietly, or it's really an argument. It's the senior version of this document answers one question that the leadership team is actually asking, and it cuts 90% of the rest out. Claude doesn't know what the CFO opens to one number and ignores the other 30. It doesn't know which slides your VP will actually stop on. It doesn't know what not to say. And in an executive readout, what you leave out is just important in many cases is what you put in. And that's the whole skill. But again, here's what's in it for you. The drafting saves you the assembly time. But the edit, what you have to cut down to the one thing that can actually change the decision, is the part that makes you look like that senior operator in the room. Claude's gonna write a very long version. You write the short one. The short one is still your job. So after 30 days, here's what actually landed. Claude AI ran most of it. The pulling, the first draft narrative, the structure, all the readout, the tireless, second look, all those mechanical things. 80% of the actual marketing reporting. And it ran that 80% faster and cleaner than I could by hand. That 20% that I kept, that's actually always my job. The why behind the numbers, the triage on what matters, the cut to the one thing that can actually move a decision. Reporting is never valuable because somebody assembled it. It's valuable because somebody senior decided what it meant and the part that you cannot hand off. All right. So here's the reframe that matters for you. When you spend the week assembling the report, you're doing the part that just got automated. When you hand the assembly to Claude and spend the week on the judgment, meaning the why, the triage, that cut you're doing, that's the part Claude can't do. Now, same data, same tool, one of the two versions of you looks replaceable right now, and the other person is a person that gets promoted. The tool didn't decide which one you are. What you do with that last 20%, that's what decides. So next month when your reporting comes due, don't open that blank spreadsheet. Hand over the pool, the first pass narrative and the structure, hand it over to Claude. Then spend those hours you just got back on the only part that was ever yours. The what it means, what matters, and what to leave out. Now, the whole experiment only worked because Claude knew enough about my world to be useful. It knew my channels, my accounts, my history. Most people Claude doesn't. It forgets everything the second you close a tab and starts every task like a stranger. So I did the opposite. I gave Claude my entire marketing memory, meaning every account, every campaign, every postmortem, and I let it remember all of that. So, and it changed how it worked, but it created one risk I really didn't see coming. That's the next one. I'll see you over there. So keep watching.